Hello, hello. And hello to you, Let to his band. I don't know if that's how you exactly pronounce that username. And hello there, my VIP Zane. Yes, because you got the VIP badge. Yep. It's been a while since been a little while since I streamed because I had a lot of family stuff and also holiday chores to do. But we're finally back at it. So then, I guess, yeah, there's not really much to catch up on since all I did was the first case of this game, which was just more or less a tutorial. And we've already established, well, what the character we're playing is, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, Phoenix Wright's ancestor, and how he was being mentored by his best friend, Asogi. I forgot his last name. Or was that? Or it was Asogi's last name, and I think I just forgot his first name. Oh, Kazuma Asogi. There we go. I just remembered. And then, of course, we had assistance from Mikotoba, both the assistant gal and the old professor. Yes. And we almost got framed for murder by a British woman. From a foreigner. Because this takes place, because the first case took place in Japan. And, I don't know, it seems kind of, it's such a kind of a coincidence that this is basically my second investigation kind of game that takes place during a time where the British Empire is recently forming alliances with other Asian countries like China and, in this case, Japan. Because the first game that I played that involved that history was Murders on the Yangtze River, which, yeah, talked volumes about the history behind the alliance between China and then China and the UK. And yes, this is going to be an interesting one. Because, yeah, and this is so far the only Ace Attorney game I've never played before. So, yeah, so I don't exactly know what's gonna happen in the second case, other than just, well, we traveled to the UK, probably, and, I don't know, probably get framed for murder or something. Or somebody gets framed for murder and we solve the case. That's usually how it goes. But yeah, here we go. Episode 2, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
9th of January, 6:37 a.m. on board the steamship Bura. Oh?
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So, the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
Da! No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes.
Herlock Sholmes.
You must have heard of me.
Oh my god, is it gonna be Naruto? Is he gonna be in the closet? Bruh. My head's throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. Oh god damn it, I got framed for murder again. Gah! What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, Oh, the Russian guy. We have to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. You found me then. Duh, we found you, and now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry. Now you have been found. It is time you admit to your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that? Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mrs. Otto. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh. Literally got a Mia face situation here. Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. That was bolted shut from the inside. His body. Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And then these handcuffs. Sure you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No! Kazuma, it was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it funny being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Oh, he's a stowaway. Okay. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it in a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at the sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together. We'll leave you at the next spot. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said it before. You said you will admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these 4 walls. What? Oh yes, the classic locked room mystery bullshit. Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died?
The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call.
So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then?
That's true, yes.
Can anyone tell me what happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would everyone want to kill Kazuma?
Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone.
Please.
Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all.
Well, yes, I was, but...
He would always wake before dawn and to do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't.
Does that mean he was already dead when Susato arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I'm getting pinged somewhere. Oh, wait, oh, that's my...
I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewmen forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor.
And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow.
I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe.
It's all very hard to believe for me too, trust me.
Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question.
Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything.
Why are you even on board of the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time.
I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabins for so long without him noticing?
No, that would have been possible, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together.
He actually asked you, but why?
I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself.
I don't understand.
Kazuma, why do you want to do this? What's the real reason? Why go to extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you want to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it.
Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you.
Yes, maybe, but something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then, it was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry that we kept a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean.
If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. But for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Ugh. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Ow! What the... That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What much of an art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved in just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in the court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in that wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place when I went to sleep in there. So just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled helplessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put that sign back in position. What does she think I am? A magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you to use using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. And I suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard? Are you now, Hodo-san? I'm sure you're careful enough to look around using B and M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin.
B and M, okay.
Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now.
What the fuck is this?
That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But why did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. There's nothing on the table at all. And the plate and color are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after the dinner at all.
Oh, was the chicken drugged?
So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. What do you think this is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing it was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of a brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else. In a cabin. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burda. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
So wait, how did he smuggle his sword in?
What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking, are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship. Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way. And what's this? It's actually some god of the sea, although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing this morning's... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
Wait, what happened to preserving the crime scene?
Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments. Was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see. It says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, your story isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it out on his destination. Make it to his destination. It looks as though his last entry is incomplete. Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! Oh! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Goddamn, but I swear if it costs me the case, I'm blaming you. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? It's 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. Because of that, you had no idea what was happening out there in the cabin. No, sadly not. This is... yes, it's a Bellicord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book when I was studying that talked about a life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for our lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure that's just everyone's busy, that's all. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, it looks like it must be connected to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear too, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. What the hell? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Kazuma's death. Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we must simply talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expected that you'd notice already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Okay, this is a new mechanic. Well, something you don't usually get in Ace Attorney. Until now. Excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh damn, he's already here. Greetings! I hope you haven't taken a so long. I didn't read. Hold on. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Wait, is that the voice I want to have for him? He did have a British voice, so. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Yeah, I think I'll go with that one. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now.
The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry?
What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
Oh, well, that's true at least.
But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. But there is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bereaved occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes.
Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you?
Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name?
I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
What?
And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen, there's no way I...
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous.
How could you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not?
Well, yes, maybe.
Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that,
Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more plain observation.
Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right.
Huh. I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes.
So, it's really you, the actual Herlock Sholmes.
The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes.
Do you know this man, Susato-san?
The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
What planet have I living on then?
We must ask him what he's deduced. You will have worked the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again?
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, I see, you're German? Herlock, was it?
No, not her. I mean hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read it all about my exploits in this exciting London a London publication.
Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in the series of short stories then?
Indeed I am.
And you've read so many of your own stories, you start to think you really are a detective.
Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine.
You have a biographer? Do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Dr. Wilson?
I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science? Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago.
How can you look me in the eye and claim that?
So you see, I have a turn for both observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Sholmes.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him.
When I became anxious about Kazuma Sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh. Oh my god. Spam bot in my chat. There we go.
The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came to this cabin this morning?
Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand. But what were they?
Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor.
I have no idea how to... Okay, I don't know how to say that word.
That is Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazuma was Russian, was he?
Initially, they considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
Our uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea.
And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong.
I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details.
This
was taken immediately after the young man was discovered before the body was discovered.
Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. So this is the first time I've actually seen him like this.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, thank you. A word for wardrobe in purple ink. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that.
Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I don't know. I don't know Russian.
Certainly, if it interests you.
How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean.
Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in?
Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and the assassin of 16 part.
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Vilin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered.
Since when Kazuma was a Russian?
It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik.
No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt to learn to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Ugh, please.
And I might add, your name does not appear on this ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway.
What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated this thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually read interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper for yourself. As a little memento of this great deduction.
Oh, thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. And you might find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Oh, it's space. I keep forgetting I can't just click it.
You drew the characters for this paper seal, didn't you, Naruhodo-san? They're such bold, vivid strokes you made.
You're looking at a man who came aboard inside a trunk. Those brushstrokes needed to make a statement. If they found me in that wardrobe, those Russians would have hurled me into the freezing cold ocean.
I'm sure none of the crewmen would have done anything like that.
Well, I'm not so sure.
They would have forced you to wash dishes in the galley until you were on death's door or something like that.
Wash dishes until I was on death's door? That's a lot of dishes.
Ah, these must be remnants of the glue you used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe.
That's right. It was pulverized rice.
Pulverized rice?
Yes, I pulverized some of the rice for my evening meal, even though it broke my heart.
Broke your heart? What do you mean?
Remember, I'm a stowaway on the ship. All I had to eat were Cosmo's leftovers. Even a couple grains of rice could have meant the difference between life and death.
Oh my, it must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me, as it happens. You're welcome to use it this evening.
Oh, thank you very much.
Interesting.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says.
The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai.
Yes, you told us that before.
It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he?
The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
What?
Huh. This is interesting.
Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san?
Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps this is about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think?
She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. It pops up everywhere. This Mr. Sholmes.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novavik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember?
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must have been an unbelievable sum of money. Susada-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of Novavik Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify what that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, I believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susada takedown is. Susada-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely the diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Huh. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Shones. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I never heard of that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist would reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter? No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only moments ago! Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say just such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name.
Naruto-san, what are you standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well.
Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can— Hiya! Oh!
After Kazuma-san spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to just give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate?
Ugh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for our chance to slip the next door.
Good idea.
The situation doesn't look good for me, but there's still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Excuse me.
What?
I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside?
Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see.
Sorry?
The criminal asking a prison guard to help him escape. Very funny.
We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping.
Niet. You stay in this cabin until next port, then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay!
Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's bitter nature, that's for sure.
When I went for help, the crewmen forced the door open. This bolt's been firmly closed.
It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy. And it slides across the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and a thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this.
Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they're sealed together perfectly. There'll be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid.
When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The
Crewman, do you mean he wasn't there before, was he?
That's what I thought.
Why don't we try talking to him?
Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is that?
Is something wrong, Naruto-san?
Oh no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I kind of help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before.
Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yes, what can I do for you? Wait a fucking minute, is that is that the head investigator? Is that the investigator from the previous case? Oh my god.
I recognize that face, but it can't be.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's him.
It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga.
Hello again.
What are you doing here?
I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped.
Nearly stopped, I hoped.
I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship.
Again?
You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector.
If there's anything else I can do to help you, please ask.
I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
For what?
My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard.
Oh.
It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even been a possibility?
I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated?
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would have happened here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Alright, I'm back.
I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.
Inspector.
So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word.
We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer?
Of course not! I'd really like to investigate the cabin next door.
Yes. So we do...
Oh, yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin.
I'm sorry.
What?
You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved even a touch of the handle of the cabin's door, that stormy-looking seaman would surely snap your neck in two.
I suppose. I'm not just a story now. They think I'm a murderer as well.
Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive.
What do you mean?
If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to.
But I don't see how. There may be a way.
What? Really?
Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession.
Evidence?
It's just the same when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use.
So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay, let's see here. Ah, the diary, yes.
What's that?
It's Kazuma's diary.
Just before he died, Kazuma wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill."
A speckled band? That is strange.
Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin.
That's right. So we could investigate in there. We might be able to work out what the speckled band was.
Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though.
But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders?
I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do.
Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Like the fancy new UI.
19th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Buia, first class cabin, passageway.
I finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting.
It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-san was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in the first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Really?
That must be awful.
Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down.
The next door leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose. Like people in handcuffs.
Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
It must have been a very trying time for you.
Please, don't give me that pitying look. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck, look.
The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering.
Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is that such a huge lump of metal doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san.
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese archipelago.
The islands of Japan?
Yes. They're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth. Many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them.
Well, I suppose so. What the hell is this?
Ah, a trap for catching mice.
Oh, that's a mouse trap? Oh, it's kinda hard to tell from this angle. Yes, we have plenty of those back at home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think that's why it's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But... suppose you're right.
You aren't actually going to try it, will you?
All I had to do was eat for the past couple of weeks. This Kazuma's... All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh. All I have to do is this.
What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop. This ship included.
Ollie, if you had to do something foolish, then at least make it something that doesn't affect everyone else.
This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, and there's the big guy. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here.
This sailor's eye speaks volumes. You're clearly saying, keep out.
That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors.
although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. That's a huge book on the top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writings are neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things not exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Excuse me, but could I ask you something?
You little stowaway murderer.
That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class lady's maid.
Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff.
Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about the first-class cabin area.
Here we are in the finest part of the Buria steamship, for the very important persons.
What sort of very important persons?
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
But somehow I let a stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal.
Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi currently occupied?
I'm guessing that's supposed to say da. Duh!
Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's a tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of the student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is a authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there was anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, it must be rather important.
Is that right?
That is not your business.
Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff?
Duh, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder. Could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Hit!
Tsusada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly, no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no!
Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that you wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Yeah, you looked away slightly when he said that.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh,
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
yes, alright.
Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when pigs fly.
Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosmo-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help us with our inquiries. How annoying. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside!
Oh, stand aside.
Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes!
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes!
Be right back. Alright, here we go.
This door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What plague can I kick?
I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief.
9th January, SS Budia, first class, cabin, number 2.
Oh, wait, this is supposed to be a Western gentleman. But he looks Russian. He kinda looks Russian, especially with the hat on, so I'll go with the Russian accent.
Who are you?
A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you could see, there's nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man doesn't appear to be the only person here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out, all of you, now!
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe?
Yes, that's me, and you are?
I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You heard of me, no doubt?
No.
I'm a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely.
This man uses that magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives.
Well, we distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there would appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might it be so bold as to open that to ask you to open that small traveling case?
What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk?
Don't look at me.
Oh my, did you see that?
Mr. Hanahodo. Yes, the case just shook.
Leave, no, otherwise I'll call the steward.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
He's sitting inside the wardrobe.
What do you think you're doing?
Ah,
This is my cabin. Get out.
Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No.
Ah, what a pity. I think we're out of luck.
I think you're right.
There doesn't seem to be anything more we can do.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
you need only to address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call upon my great powers of detection to enter service.
You mean deduction?
Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards is so closely is exposed? Should you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what are we about to see may as well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness?
I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on the first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence.
What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott has reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What? What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not?
Huh?
And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Oh, now Otto-san. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes.
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What? What an effeminate twaddle.
Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right.
How? How could you?
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you on a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together.
The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old Man's Identity.
Ooh, new minigame.
So, the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eyes in the first place is the enormous pairs of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring at us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard, you sport.
He's like, what?
Now moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, The subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violin Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand.
Conclusion. A revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation. A young lady, perhaps? Or one slight enough to fit therein?
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your callous coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we will need only to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equally found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page.
He really is stuck in the revolutionary bit.
Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova.
Conclusion. Kidnapping of a young ballerina.
Your deductions are shit.
That concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky.
Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment?
Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's a newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary. Well, able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point. And another thing, about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain leafness in their bodies.
Vinegar?
For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort one's self into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes.
Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something has occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little of itself, Miss Susato.
It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactically switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some keywords in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought I was going through on my own mind.
This man has a lot of work.
At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
It's not that funny.
Ah, and you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists? Did you? What?
Ah, where are your handcuffs?
Huh?
How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel.
He wants me to flash some poses with him.
And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Old man's identity and revolution, yep.
So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye?
Oh, I've already bet this shit. Yes, enormous treasure is in your hand. Oh, there's something happening. Now we ask ourselves, what do we give us we want such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. She has to cut away the copious beard you sport. Oh?
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll have to ever worry about. They look like sit right with me, though.
It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either.
Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong.
Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if that helps matters.
Okay, how?
I think we should try by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it really is his beard that he intended to use those shears on.
Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better,
then what?
And I'll leave the rest in your capable hands now, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the only one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last statement. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? What was he about to cut? Golden... What the fuck? Golden locks? No, not the hat. Golden locks? What the fuck?
Yes!
Ooh, I like that effect. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose.
Wait, is this guy a woman?
Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair.
One very much in her youth.
Oh no. If only I managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected.
Then the question begged is this. Why do you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification.
Oh wait, I've already said this shit before. And it reveals a true identity about the revolutionary here. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise, Naruto-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly...
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman.
Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now.
Yes.
Let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yeah, she's the ballerina.
Yes!
Article about the ballerina. Kia! The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovic Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of Novovic Ballet's prima ballerina.
Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Gah!
Oh. Yep. It is her.
You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone.
Boom! A ballerina on the run. Solved. There we go. Well, obviously it's not kidnapping a young ballerina. She doesn't look kidnapped.
Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing the most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case.
This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well.
No, that's right. Seems she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again.
You seem to look pleased, Naruto-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes?
Stop it! Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to.
The tiara. That's not the traveling case. The tiara?
Yes!
Oh, she stole the tiara. Yeah. Yeah.
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara.
I believe this is the tiara worn on stage by dancers in the Novovic Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary,
The crime you've committed is theft.
oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah!
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely.
Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now.
Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish for it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I had ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not so well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf.
What? He's completely changed tack with his deduction now.
I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you?
Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely that's the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case. Would have been written in a book that didn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in this area. And if that's where her gaze is involuntarily drawn,
I agree. That's the only answer.
whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Can I move? Oops. Ah! I knocked my mouse. Oh, I can drag it. Cabin door. Could it be the rules of passage? Because I'm guessing she has a pet. She brought a pet inside. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents.
As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move on it of its own accord.
Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case
is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Damn, he really enjoyed flexing those poses with the detective. Conclusion. Possession of a prohibited animal. Solved. Deduction complete.
Elementally. Elementally.
So clearly you aren't who you said you were.
No, I am not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel.
Which couldn't have been easy. Buria is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed?
In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone.
So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin?
That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally.
More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai.
Oh wait, I forgot the accent.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? So no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fast as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
The annoyingly unlocked cabin doors, because he was so pissed off that he couldn't kick the door down. That's hilarious.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time.
Are those even two talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside of your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night.
Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, wasn't it something Mr. Sholmes' great deduction?
It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible.
Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh? Yes? What?
Observe your wrists.
My...
Ah! Your hands are cuffed again.
What?
But how? True to my word, I've restored your shackles.
Ugh. When and why?
There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment.
Can it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what that speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died, he was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded.
Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novavik Ballet?
Yes. Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition, when you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But that tiara is mine. I needed to leave. I have no money of my own. The Novavik Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I had stayed, it would have killed me.
So you ran away to protect yourself?
Yes, and the crew of the ship, they have all been so kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I'll go hide in this cabin.
Oh, they were in on this. The crew was in on this.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it? What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but...
Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from your ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night.
Ah, that's it. Of course. She's been on the ship the whole time.
So how is it?
Well, I guess maybe perhaps almost the whole time.
So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked them about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers describe one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens because I'm an angel.
Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sholmes once said I never can resist a touch of dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact.
Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? Is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious...
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah!
So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it?
Maybe an adorable little rabbit?
Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you?
Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then?
You may as well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken.
Oh my god.
Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance.
So you eat your friends. I'll remember that.
Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed.
She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? Oh.
I don't know. I don't know anything. Mr. Naruhodo, you're frightening the poor girl.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to. Okay, I think it's probably the speckled band part, because I'm guessing it's probably a snake. This is the diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary?
Yes, and he wrote it. He wrote in it in the last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound, and then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together.
Oh! Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything.
Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to the captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Don't mind us.
Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott.
Get out! The passenger said out, or do you want me to throw you out? Ugh, looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later.
What a pity.
And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. I think I'll end the stream here. Don't wanna, because in case the case might end up being super long in the second part. So yeah, farewell for now.